Going. Good afternoon, everyone. Um, Welcome back to our series of webinars in the wake of these unprecedented times of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Association of African Business Schools, AABS, thought of alternative virtual ways to keep in touch with its members and associates by scheduling a series of webinars. The first of which took place on April 15th, where 4 school members shared insights and experiences on how they have dealt with the situation these past weeks. So today we're delighted to welcome our longtime associate Peregrine Global Services, Mr. Paul Mallet, Director of Europe, Middle East and Africa Operations. Paul has more than 30 years of experience in higher education in both teaching and administrative positions in US, Europe, in the Middle East, and Asia. He's been active in quality assurance in higher education for more than 15 years, specializing in business school accreditations. As many African business schools are considering a variety of delivery methods to ensure that their programs move ahead as planned, and with the ongoing concerns about in-person on-site courses, given the current situation, it may be difficult to provide students with the in-person courses that meet their needs. As a result, business schools are faced with many challenges related to the needs of different student groups. Peregrine offers efficient online solutions and provides higher education assessment and support services that Paul so kindly offered to share with the AABS member schools. So I give the virtual stage to Paul. Paul, back to you.
Great. Thank you very much for that very nice introduction, Dr. El-Khamat. I guess I'm pronouncing it poorly.
El-Khamat. Ali.
So
Ali is good for
apologize.
me.
You're going to have to teach me better pronunciations in the future. So it's really a delight to be with you, and I really appreciate the work that Dick Altella has put into organizing this, as well as Lara El-Ramli and Tracy Hopflesh. And I had the delight to work with them, and I'm really pleased to be with you today and look forward to future participation with the AABS group. I have a short presentation. I'm going to try to keep it to about 30 minutes, including some questions, because I know we're all busy. I think Tracy Dickel will help open this up to questions at the end. I'll leave some time. So that right now it's at 3 o'clock. I would like to just share my screen with you so that you can see my presentation. And I'm not sure if you're seeing the correct screen.
Yeah, it's good.
It's the full screen. It's not it's the correct screen. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So in order to sort of just start off the presentation, as Dr. El-Khamat mentioned, Peregrine is a global services organization dedicated to helping institutions across the globe improve higher education in business and other areas. We function in the United States with a number of different disciplines, but although in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, our services in business education and commerce is really where we're focused. So we have an organization that has been around for almost 20 years and has grown from just a few schools to now a global organization with services and clients in Asia, the Middle East, Africa, in South America, and of course in North America, where our company is based. I'm speaking to you from Paris. This is our first week of semi openings. I'm able to be back to my office. We have a bright sunny day here, and so I'm on your time schedule for most of you who are in the African continent. So that's a helpful tool. Let's see, I'm just going to get my presentation moving here. Sometimes it takes a minute to get me. Oh, there we go. So as I mentioned, We believe as an organization with you and with schools that we partner with that we do change the world, because students who graduate from your institutions, the students that we work with, make a difference in the world. So we provide those assessment services to ensure that the students who graduate from your institutions have the skills and tools that they need. We provide a lot of technical support as well as support services beyond just assessment and the modules that we have online learning. We really work to partner with institutions to move beyond just simply providing what we call a vendor service. That's why we don't call our services products, because it really is a service to you and the additional activities that we provide. We have a lot of technical ability and consulting services to help you as institutions accomplish your goals. Of course, as an American organization based in America, but of course working globally, we'd like to talk about our pillars of excellence. And it is important for us to engage with you as schools, because we understand, and I understand, having lived in Europe for over 30 years and traveled the world, that there is enormous diversity in institutions. And we don't want all institutions to be the same, which means solutions have to be adapted. And so that's one thing that we bring to the table, is adaptation, so that each institution, if it's serving a local, regional, national, or international, and that what solutions we provide are really based on that flexibility of looking at each institution and its goals. And I notice AABS has a very important component of helping develop the African continent, and we are very committed to adapting to those needs with the institutions that we work with. We partner with them. We have a very diverse staff in our organization with lots of cultures and backgrounds and languages, who bring in a variety of perspectives, which I think is very important. It's not all American. We have people from Asia, from Middle East, and people who speak multiple languages. So I think that's a very important in order to be able to connect with you as institutions. We provide what we consider really relevant work, relevancy for what we provide to you as organizations, to make sure that we're keeping on top of the trends. We've been working very hard and long with our institutions now, going through transitioning as the COVID has forced institutions to go online. I have not had any time off during this COVID. I've been working very diligently with the institutions to make sure that transition goes as smoothly as possible. We work very closely with accreditation organizations and are delighted to put AABS in that group with us. As you can see, I work with AACSB in the Amsterdam office, and AMBA in London, EFMD in Brussels, and AABS across the continent, as well as these other organizations. And what we do is we really try to align with what your needs are, but also what the accreditors are requiring for you as an organization, to comply with those quality assurance standards that they so hard work hard to put into place with their evaluators and their assistance they provide you. So I work really closely with each organization, and look forward to working more with AABS to make sure that what we provide is in alignment with what they're expecting you to do to maintain your quality, to improve quality, to assess and evaluate and move your organizations ahead. So we, as I said, we partner with accreditation agencies, but also through that partner with their schools. So that's a very strong relationship that I develop with accreditation agencies and with institutions. Now, as far as the services that we provide, they are designed to help with compliance in accreditation standards, which means quality assurance through accreditation. If you're going to have that label of AABS and you're going to be able to identify as a member and as accredited institution, then that should carry some weight and responsibility. So we work with institutions to help maintain that relationship of quality. And we do that a number of different ways. Our primary service, we have many services, but our largest service is assessment services. And we provide academic assessment for individual courses, but more often than not for programs. So if you have an undergraduate or postgraduate or doctoral program and you need to assess student learning, which means what is expected of that student by the time they've completed the program, we provide assessment services that cover the functional areas, both on hard and soft skills, as I'll show you. So we have online, and all of our services are online, and which means they're able to provide them for distant learners as well as students who are, when we get back to campuses, face to face. So these can be done and we have them in business management. As you can see, these are our what we call our test banks or our assessment services in accounting, finance, marketing, HR, OB, global business, etc. Excuse me. So we have separate test banks that are generally used as a comprehensive test bank at the end of the program. We have a number of different ways that schools approach this. Some institutions do what we call a pre-test. They assess their students coming into a program and assess their students at the end of the program to see longitudinally how well their students have done throughout the program. And they establish a benchmark, so to speak, that I work very closely with schools, helping them to establish what is it that you want your students to achieve by the time they've completed the program. So there's a concept of pre-test and post-test using what we call a comprehensive assessment, which combines all of these different areas or several of them. I work with schools to choose those areas that are most closely aligned with what you're teaching. You'll notice that I have highlighted in red customized topics, because if you don't find from our test banks what you need, we work with you to help you establish your own testing or test banks through multiple choice questions. I work with many schools that have very specialized programs. I'm working with one right now in Geneva that has international relations with many different subject areas that I'm working with them, and they'll upload that onto our platform, combine it with some of these test banks in order to assess students. So there's a lot of built-in flexibility, and it allows you to evaluate individual cohorts, compare your institution to like or peer institutions, to look at a longitudinal view of your assessments over a long period of time, either individually or in terms of cohorts. So this is one of the assessment services that is used most often by our institutions that we partner with. And as I said, I work very closely with institutions to help them move through this assessment process. We offer this in many different languages. I put British English here because we do have a test bank in English, or what we call sort of, the American-centric English. But working externally outside of the United States, it's really important for institutions that teach in English, but not necessarily want to get stuck with American-centric language. So we made a very conscious effort to have our test banks in English that are what we call GBE, Global Business Education Assessments. Those test banks in English remove that US-centric language so that, like in Africa and in Europe, most places are used to sort of the British style pronunciation, spelling, and references rather than referring maybe to baseball in its examples. And we also offer this in German, Spanish, French, Portuguese. And again, if there are other languages, I'm working with a school in the Ukraine, which is instead of doing Russian, they're adding some specializations in Ukrainian, even though they're very similar. So we have the option. Those are in the languages that are adapted to the teaching that's taking place. So our test banks are one area where you will find different languages. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of other language options, but I think with the group that I'm speaking with today, most programs in English. As I said, we really do try to help schools meet for my, well, say schools, I fixed it, but then I didn't fix this one. So when I looked at AABS, of course, I did this very, very quickly. We met just, I think, a week and a half ago, so my presentation was a fast one. But I did notice a number of areas within AABS that speak very specifically to what we do as an organization and what their expectations of you in meeting and complying with the requirements for accreditation. Now, not all schools are going to go through accreditation, and that's certainly fine, but achieving or looking at the standards in order to determine what you need to do to ensure quality is important as well. So we work with accredited and non-accredited institutions, and I think it's important to make that distinction, that it's fine for accreditation, but joining AABS and working through a quality assurance process is important as well, and very important for your students locally, for the region, and nationally for what you're doing within your country. But within the standards, if I'm looking at student learning achievement, I can see very quickly that assessing that students meet learning objectives, of course, our assessment tools really do help with creating a link between what you're assessing and those learning objectives. And those acquired skills, again, what's expected for students at the end of their program and the level that they're studying at. So you have students who are in 2-year programs, 3 or 4-year programs, master's or doctoral programs. We provide assessment services in our test banks that are applicable. And I think that's important to keep in mind, because someone studying in a 2-year program versus a doctoral program, your expectations are going to be different and should be reflected differently. Should be taught differently, but your expectations should be different as well. We talk a lot more about critical thinking skills on the upper level postgraduate programs, and really obtaining basic knowledge and skills on the undergraduate level. I work with schools to adapt to what we call the Bloom's taxonomy of learning, and the upper level and lower level taxonomy terms that we use in our testing bank, so that you can select questions, not questions, but look at questions that respond to those different types, so you can assess whether or not you're really measuring the upper level or mid-level or lower level taxonomy skills. When I look at quality of sort of graduating students, again, standard 5, to make sure that you measure and safeguard your standards. So again, comparing cohorts to cohorts is very important, and program to program, location to location, or when a student starts. Some schools admit students after they've been in school at another school for 2 years, or coming in with non-business undergraduate degrees. So it's important to measure students depending on their background, so that you can safeguard your standards, and to ensure that there's no gaps between graduated students and learning outcomes. Again, being able to have rich data to be able to assess that. And our test banks provide up to 12 different types of reports, which you can sort in different ways to look at these different ways of measuring learning within the program. Looking at the programs, again, improving student learning skills, different methods for expected learning outcomes, as well as the milestones in those progressions. As I said, we have a different types of tools. So taking a very, very quick look at some of the standards provided by AABS, I was able to see very quickly an alignment, and we'll continue to align what we provide and when I make presentations and work with schools to ensure that what I do really responds to what your needs are, rather than trying to impose what I think you need. So it's really taking a close look at what your interests are, and whether that's for accreditation or quality assurance, or measuring, whether you're faculty or qualified, sometimes outside of just the assessment aspect of it. I think it's important to keep in mind that that's what I try to bring to the table when I'm working with partner schools. In addition to hard skills, we also measure soft skills. This is a new service that's it's being introduced as we speak. We're doing a lot of webinars on this. I can certainly do a webinar in the future on soft skills. This is obviously a very hot topic for companies, because they complain that we as business schools don't teach students enough those soft skills. So they're putting the onus on us as schools and agencies like what we do, vendors of services, to help schools develop those soft skills. and mitigate any weaknesses with that. So we have a very sophisticated soft skills assessment tool where a student will be assessed by a minimum of 3 people, but usually 5 or more. And we use the tool of the 360 evaluation that's used in companies. We have a lot of experience in our Leadership Institute for doing that, so we transferred that to higher education. And we have now developed what we call workplace soft skills assessment with over 250 different soft skills that you can choose. Either the participant or student chooses or the institution chooses those skills that they want to assess, put together an assessment plan. As you see here, these are some of the really top skills that companies are asking students to come in with: critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, ethics, as well as resolution for conflicts and persuasiveness. Again, there's 250. We group them together. We help institutions choose those skills that are best adapted to their programs, and then help them implement this for their students. So we have there's a long presentation that I don't want to get into today, but we have the assessments on the hard skills and soft skills, because learning outcomes and learning objectives that you put in place for your students should encompass both learning outcomes that are based on soft and hard skills. And we really do provide, help to provide services that are linked to both of those. This service is available in English. However, if you're interested in developing that in another language, we're more than happy to upload that onto our platform. Finally, we also offer skills courses, professional skills courses. We call them leading edge learning. And these are provided in many different areas in business. We have 15 different topic areas of modules. These are 4 to 8 hour modules that can be done prior to a student entering a program or as part of a program. Sometimes schools use this as an academic leveling or prerequisite. Students are coming into upper level courses without the adequate background, or it can be used to filter students out of certain courses, or, as I said, integrated in. So we have 15 different modules. We have leadership modules for schools that want to develop, usually on the graduate level, leadership skills or executive education. This is used in executive education, as well as writing modules. And this is really academic writing for students who have to develop theses, or they're writing a report for an internship, or they're having to do an academic paper or dissertation. So these academic writing modules are used in those, integrated into courses as well. So these are also available in English. And then finally, some consulting services. I mentioned accreditation, leadership, and quality assurance. And we come in and work with institutions to provide consulting services. And finally, this Business Resource Center, which I did want to focus on a bit. This is a resource center that is provided by Peregrine for AABS members during this COVID crisis until the end of the year at no cost. This one service, the other services are cost for services, but this one to help institutions transition to online or develop more resources online. This is a resource center that enables faculty members to integrate current business news articles into the classroom. And this is a no-cost offer for AABS members. And I'm be happy to work with you to implement that in your campus or with your faculty and students. This is written by and for faculty with summaries of articles that are available in the press, in Business Week or Bloomberg or the press that you and I read, Business Press. Each article has a summary and then key learning points that are addressed by the board that reads through these articles and creates these learning points. Each article has quizzes and discussion questions, cases, team activities, and an integration guide if you want to include it into your classroom. Now, these, as I said, it really promotes critical thinking, stimulates student learning and engagement. It really demonstrates that practical application of concepts and promotes, as I said, the development of skills, both oral and written skills. And of course, you can develop the need to have comprehension within it. So if I think I have a couple minutes. What I'd like to just do is share, if I can, quickly what this service looks like. Let me just get out of my presentation here, and I'll share, if I can, um, and I'll share a new screen that'll show you an actual interface with this. Let me find the right screen that I have here. Here we go. Can someone tell me if you can? Oops, wrong one.
Yeah,
Stop sharing.
we can
That's not the
see.
one I wanted. I
Okay.
have to find the right one. Here it is. Okay, do you see Educational Resource Center?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, we do.
all right, so let me just close that. So the Educational Resource Center, this is what the interface looks like. And as you can see here, if I click on this, I'm logged in as a faculty member. These are articles that are reviewed, and as you can see, this one was just reviewed on the 17th of May. So these are very up-to-date articles. If you do an advanced search, you can choose between any of these different areas if you're in economics or finance or information technology, in a different sector area that you'd like to focus on and have your students do some research on, or you'd like to introduce something in that area. Obviously, the different regions, including Africa here. So if you want to focus on different regions and different competencies. So if I click on an article, let's just say, here's an article about the 50-day lockdown in India. Obviously, unfortunately, is a depressing article, but it has business applications for consumer goods, finance, government. It relates to Asia and Oceania, critical thinking, decision making. This gives us the summary, an abstract, so the faculty can determine if this is really applicable for themselves. You can also, I have a faculty access here, but you also can have students do research and present in a class. Articles that you've asked them to do research on, key learning points. So if you want to make sure that you're covering the key learning points, activities you can integrate into a classroom. You can have students, it gives you an idea. It's a resource for faculty, discussion questions, little quizzes, open-ended questions that you ask students to respond to. It also has a function in which you can actually create your own quizzes that you send out to your students to see that they're answering questions that you've put together. So we have the ability for you to create, integrate this into a classroom. We provide a lot of resources here. These are integration guides that you can integrate for your courses. So it really does allow you, if you're, here's a quick review of that. This is business fundamentals. So you can, if you wanted to integrate this into a class and figure out, well, how do I do grading for discussions or short papers or presentation? We really help to try to provide you with the resources that you would need to integrate this into a class. So the Resource Center really does provide you with a research wizard so that you can put article searches. This goes back to 2007, so there's a rich data of articles that are available to you. So I think I've kind of run out of my time. I did want to bring this up. I'd like to also just open up my PowerPoint just one more time so that I can show you on the screen the contact information. I'm sure that Declan will make this presentation available to all members. But I'd like to just share my screen one more time so that you can take a look at how to get a hold of us if you'd like to have information about the resource center. This is info@peregrineglobal.com. Just write them, say that you came to a presentation, would be interested in receiving more information about Peregrine's free offer of the Resource Center, info@peregrineglobal.com. And then if you want to reach out to me individually, that's my last name, Mallette, M-A-L-L-E-T-T-E. The French make a mistake by misspelling it, surprisingly, since it's a French name, but that's okay, at peregrineglobal.com. So thank you for listening to my rapid fire discussion here. Hopefully I will have opportunities to slow it down and meet with you individually someday, face to face, or if you'd like me to do a webinar individually or present this to your faculty or staff, I'd be more than happy to do it. I'm not going anywhere for a couple of months since, you know, we're still here in semi-lockdown, so I'd be happy to do it anytime you'd like. So I'll turn it back over to my illustrious team who's
Ali.
been reviewing this. Ali, okay, Ali.
Yes, thank you very much, Paul, for this, you know, eye-opening presentation. It was pretty intense, but at the same time, we learned a lot of things. I've been in contact with Peregrine for many, many years, but you summarized, you know, the services that you're offering in a very eloquent way. Thank you very much.
Right.
I wonder if there are any questions. You know, the question I have is, you mentioned hard hard skills, soft skills, all the subject matters regarding the soft skills. Do you have anything about entrepreneurship? Because it's really big in Africa. It's picking up. Do you include any of your services regarding entrepreneurship and how they?
With regards to the test banks, we don't have any specific test banks on entrepreneurship. I do work with a number of schools that in fact have created their own sets of what we would call hard skills questions, multiple choice questions on different tools that entrepreneurs use, you know, entry strategies. Now, one of the things that schools do use for entrepreneurship is the strategy test bank, because it's really devoted in many ways to the broad reach of entrepreneurship. Now, with the soft skills assessment, there is, you know, entrepreneurship behavior and activities which can be used as well. But in terms of like a specific test bank or any of the activities that we do. Now, that being said, the leadership modules do have modules that are related to activities that an entrepreneur would be involved with. So you kind of have to do a little bit of picking and choosing in different areas to get that. That's a good question.
Okay, thank you. So, I mean, I don't see any questions right now, but I think that what we're going to do, because we ran out of time, is actually to collect all the questions if they ever come after this meeting here, and we send them off to you, and we send you know, the people who are interested in getting answers, and that's actually the role of AABS, is to put you know, our associates in contact with our members. Yes, you can.
Someone actually has a question. I'll allow her to talk. It's Florence, Dr. Florence Member.
Okay, please. Yeah, Florence, please activate your mic.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, Florence, go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much for this brief. Now, I was wondering, this accreditation is meant for the African schools. And so if a particular school has to get certain services from this body, then what is the cost implication?
Good question, Florence. I was waiting for someone who was going to ask the question of how much money things cost. Because yes, we do offer a free service, which normally would cost between $2,000 and $5,000 a year for an institution. So it's a good thing to take advantage of. For our test banks, Florence, we have a flat fee for institutions for each test that's passed at their institution, including all the setup, any report, so there's no extra fees. So our base fee is $45 US dollars for the test for tests. Now that test bank can include many different subject areas. So it's just one test, and you can have 5, 6, 7. You can create your own test bank. So it's that one test, comprehensive test, as I said. If you're using just a one subject area test, then that's $28 for just one subject. But usually schools group together 5 or 6 different or 10 different subject areas when they're testing. Now that price goes down, Florence, as you increase the number of tests that you're providing at your institution, and that number goes down progressively as you move up. Now we recognize the important need within the African continent in terms of adjusting pricing based on the OECD parity of cost and of cost. So when a school reaches out to us, and depending on where they are, then we do negotiate with institutions to find a pricing that supports the institution, but also supports us as an organization. So that's the base price, but I'd be more than happy to talk with you individually if you want more information about and work with our finance department to see something that could be accommodating for you. For the courses, the modules that we offer, those are $49 for the courses that we offer, and those are individual courses for students. Again, the same concept. The prices go down based on the volume that you use, and then we try to accommodate different parts of the world with pricing that's adapted to that. In addition, we establish a licensing agreement with the schools that use more than one service. So again, we are an enterprise, so we do try to encourage institutions to develop their programs by using multiple services, and then the prices also, we create a licensing agreement with an institution.
Okay, thank you.
Mikel, are there any other questions before we wrap up?
No, there are not.
Okay. Well, again, thank you very much, Paul Mallet, for this introduction to all your services. I hope our school members would get out of your free services right now until the end of the year. All your database, electronic databases of content that I saw very rich. I'm going to take a look at it right after this meeting here, and for the rest of the services you mentioned to us, we're going to send this presentation out to all our member network, and we're going at the same time to offer this video to our members to again watch your presentation one more time. Thank you very much.
Great.
Again.
Just to let you know that, Ali, we also have the ability for you to actually test out the service. We call it a demonstration guest registration. I will send Dekel this guest registration, which will allow you and other members to actually go on to the site and work through it and see how it works before making a decision whether they want to adopt it. So I will send what we call guest registration, and we'll give you and all the members the opportunity to connect to the actual resource center and make a decision if they want to pursue that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thanks again. Well, have a great day.
Thank you very much, and merci beaucoup, shukran, bonne journée, bonne continuation.
I see that you're very international. You have the international fiber there. That's great. Well, this has been very fruitful, and you're an agreeable person. I'm glad to have met you. And
me too.
Let's keep talking. Thank you very much.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dekel.